The exercise of leadership is not about reducing the unknown to some kind of rational clarity. It's to achieve shared purpose with others under conditions of uncertainty. So, how can you mobilize others to achieve shared purpose, you might ask? Well, conventional leadership thinking tells us that you need a lot of charisma, a lot of money, a lot of power, a vision, so that you can persuade people or force people to change, to get their buy in, as if leadership is some kind of sales job. So, this presents us with a bit of a conundrum. Because if we believe that the only way to create big change is to leverage some kind of big force, financial force, intellectual force, political force, or when all else fails, physical force, most of us will never have that kind of force at our disposal. But that's the kind of leadership we often hear about. So the good news, particularly if you read the science about complexity and emergent behavior and systems transformation, we learn that force-based change seldom works, if ever, in the long run. And this is especially true with adaptive leadership, when the work that's required means mobilizing people over whom we have very little authority or very little power. So this notion of connecting the purpose, both our own and others, is one of the greatest untapped resources in leadership, with and without authority. Over the past 30 years or so, it has become quite common in some parts of the world and in many organizations to talk about purpose in organizations, mission, these kind of things, vision statements. And nowadays, it's even more common to talk about a purpose economy, particularly with younger generations. So to the point of this session, I want to invite you to look at this question, what is my purpose? And as you think about this, be careful, because just doing life-saving work, just doing work that helps people doesn't necessarily mean that you are connected to your purpose. In fact, I see many people in the so-called helping professions, myself included, who do very noble work, yet nonetheless lose themselves in the work. They lose their voice in the technical details. They lose their connection to why they got into this work many years ago. And perhaps most painfully, they lose relationship to the very people and communities that they do their work on behalf of. And I don't believe that you can, by yourself, fully discover your purpose. I believe it exists in relationship to other people, in relationship to their purposes. This African idea of Ubuntu, which comes from the Nguni people in Southern Africa, this idea that I am because you are. And perhaps nowhere right now is having shared purpose more relevant than to the issues and challenges of our day. So it doesn't take much scrutiny to see that many of the decisions that are being made by people with power and authority in the dominant cultures are not serving us well. And mistakenly, and ironically, we call these people leaders. So one of the possibilities of this moment of widespread polarity is to make a choice to engage in leadership moments with a sense of purpose, and then discover that perhaps the real opportunity that's being offered to us in this moment is that nobody gets left behind, that we're all in this together with a shared sense of purpose. So we'll turn now to a thought exercise to help you begin to articulate your own purpose.